Good evening. Welcome to the July meeting of the Prince George's County Cable Television Commission. I would like to start out by introducing the new commission. My name is Cherie Gibson. I'll be serving as chair.
My name is Festus Udejafo.
I'm Kathleen Driver.
Thelma Newsom-Summers.
Cynthia Miller.
The first order of business is the approval of minutes from the June meeting. The minutes have been posted to the website. Are there any corrections to the June minutes?
There are action items to the June meeting. There are two action meetings, action to review. The first action to review would be during the public comment last meeting, Mr. Emery Gibbons, who was a resident, was here to launch his complaint, and he requested for a copy of his December 2018 monthly invoice via email, US mail. And Ms. Handy, who is the Verizon franchise manager, stated that she will provide him with that information. Also, Mr. Gibbons also requested to receive a copy of his service contract, and Ms. Handy, who is the Verizon franchise manager, also advised that Mr. Gibbons will receive that information, and also that the details can be found on his invoice, on his monthly invoice. So that concludes the action items to be reviewed.
Thank you. Okay, so Ms. Handy, welcome.
Thank you.
We are the new commission, so it's good to meet you. Looking forward to working with you. So, Mr. Gibbons, did you receive that invoice as requested?
For December?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I did.
Okay.
And just clarification, I didn't say that he would receive his contract, because we don't have contracts to send out.
Okay. So is there something in lieu of a service contract, or?
Just the information that's on his bill.
Okay, the information stated that there's no physical contract. However, the details of the contract will be on his invoice, his monthly invoice statement.
Okay.
And that is on the statement,
Okay.
on the billing statement.
So you've received that information as
I
well?
received what was the monthly statement, I guess, for December. And my problem is the date of the bill and the date of the period covered by the bill. They don't, for instance, the July bill does not just cover June, it covers part of the following month. So when I asked for the December bill, I can't gauge what was charged during the period of December. Does that make sense to you?
I believe so.
When we get to the public comment
Yeah.
as well.
There was a note as on the bill that said something similar to like 2/16 to 3/15.
Okay, we can cover that when we get to the public comment period.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Would you do monthly reports?
Okay, yeah, the monthly report for the month of June 2019. For Verizon, we have 27 open calls, we have 26 closed calls, and 1 outstanding. For Comcast, we have 7 open calls and 7 closed calls. The outstanding call for Verizon, this is an issue that we've been tracking for the past 2 years. So Verizon, the outstanding calls is with the Cinnamon Ridge, is a condominium estate, whereby they're having issues with wires, wires, external wire cabling issues, on the exterior of the homes. So they're working with individual homes. Verizon is working with each individual homes to address those external wires to make sure that they're, properly, hidden. Because of the scheduling issues with each individual, homeowner is making the case, to extend this long. However, we are tracking, to make sure that the issue is resolved successfully. Right now, the work is still in progress. As of today, as of yesterday, as of to date, actually, they're nearing to completion of that issue. So we are monitoring closely to make sure that the issue is properly addressed. And that concludes, the outstanding calls for today. And also concludes my report for
Any
monthly
questions
complaints.
about the report?
I do have a question. Do we have from Verizon, percentage of completion? I know you said they're almost complete, but do we have an actual percentage of completion and also a target date to bring this to completion?
Well, that depends on the customers because they have scheduling issue with the customers. So sometimes they might get a call, try to schedule with the customer, and when they're not home, they don't show, the technician shows up and the customer is not there. So that kind of, makes it, hard for them to work with each individual customer. But I can inquire, get like a completion
It would be
date.
good, I
Right.
think, to get a percentage of completion and a target resolution date that they can work towards. I mean, I
Yes.
know they're working with the customer, but
Right.
it always helps to have a target date.
So far, they have over 90% completion as of
Okay,
last month.
great.
So I'm thinking that by the end of this month and the next month, they will definitely, we can
Okay.
get another report to see how, the
Progress.
how far they are.
Okay, great, thank
But
you.
it's work in progress. And,
Thank you, okay.
They're working on it.
Any other questions about the monthly report?
No, that was my question too.
Okay. All right, we'll next move to the Community Television and Prince George's County report.
Okay. That report was submitted and it was approved.
Okay. So moving right along to the public comment period. I see we have Mr. Gibbons. Is there anyone else here for public comment?
Mr. Gibbons? Okay. Thank you.
Good afternoon, or good evening.
Good evening.
This is my fourth time here, and I was hoping that after the first appearance, I would not come back again. But as I was initially stated, is that the information that I requested was a contract, an agreement between me and Verizon, and they sent me a bill. A bill does not cover the present month, it covers last month and this month. And then it has like 5 pages, the last page has a whole page of small print. I have glaucoma and cataract, but I can read. You need a lawyer in order to read what's on it. So one of the questions I raised was in December of 2018, I called them for about the 5th time to request that I get an additional set-top box. And a set-top box, as I looked at the statement, was something that would bring in all the channels that it was listed on the list, which is quite long, and also tell me things to do about that DBS and all those kinds of things. But the bill goes through a lot of numbers, and it constantly talks about discounts and percentages of it. And what I was looking for is how much do I owe you? And the bill goes about adding up a total and then telling me about a discount. The percentage I don't know, but it tells you a percentage. And then they get to a bottom where they add fees and taxes. I don't have the slightest idea, with the exception I just found out last night, that the items that are listed as fees and taxes are on their website. alphabetically, and it might be as many as 100 items that are listed as fees and taxes that they have permission to do that. But you don't have the slightest idea, is it a percentage or is it a set fee? From that information that they gave me, it will not tell you what the percentage is or what the fee is in terms of percentage. I think the only thing that was direct, there are a couple of things like 911, it's like 99 cents. And that's on all the bills. But as the bill changes, those fees change because the total that you owe them change. And they obviously are taking a percentage of whatever that fee is and adding it on as a fee. I'm unable to determine how they did that, except there's a total of the fee. They give you $129, I think, for the bundle of 3, and then they add the fees to that. Well, my problem originally started with getting this set-top box that I thought I was paying $11, and I can't be sure of this figure, $11.20 for one set-top box. When I got the bill for the set-top box, which I think is December bill, it had removal of set-top box, $11.20, addition of set-top box, 2 for $24. Now, for some reason, my bill for that month, I think, was $120. So I said, one set-top box at $12 added to $120 is $132. Well, they came up with $146. And I was blasted. I didn't know how you get $46 from adding $12 to $120. I don't know how they do it yet, because I don't know how they determine what the fees are and what the taxes are. My TV and the rest of the services went out in April, and they also went out in February. They continued to send me a bill when I would not pay that bill from December, because I never knew where $11.20 for a top that I already had being removed from the bill, and then 2 additional ones added, including the one that I asked for. So there was 1 removed and 2 came in. I went to their franchise office and picked up the one box. The other box has been in my house since 2015. That was the one that they charged, supposedly, $11.20. So since 2015 to December of 2018, I was paying, I thought, $11.20 until I finally looked at the bill for the 2 boxes they were charging me from when they only picked up 1. I called, and for some reason, everybody that I call wants to sell me something else additional. We'll take back this if we look at if you give us permission to look at your account and see what you have. And by the way, we're recording this. Well, can I record your conversation? No, you can't record this conversation. And then I would repeat, no, you can't look at anything of mine, and you cannot record this conversation. You can send me a U.S. postal letter explaining exactly what I am getting and what you're giving me. They keep sending me bills that look like an invoice that says you've used this for 30 days. It doesn't tell me the number of days. It tells me from the 16th to the 15th, and that's not always 30 days. It could be 29, it could be 31. In the end, they sent me a letter that I shared with the 2 young ladies here, and it said, your service is out for 5 days. They don't live with me, and I'm sure that Verizon does not take less than a week to get out to my house. But they said it took 5 days. That's what they admitted on a letter that I recently got, that was the number of days that the services were out in February. We hadn't even got to April that was out again. But yet I've got a total bill as of today's date that includes that bill that I got back in December, plus all the bills from January to today, of totaling about $300. I don't have the slightest idea what all of that relates to, but I just know that Verizon has not added the cost and the outage on my service during that period of time for this last 6 months. And I had the need to call at least once a day to tell my daughter and my caretaker where my blood sugar is and whether or not my A1C has moved up or down. I depend on my telephone. If the telephone services that I am paying for are not being given to me, then they said, we called and nobody answered the phone. Well, I was sitting right there, they didn't answer the phone because the services that Verizon provide me doesn't work. So last month I told them, I don't want those services. So I now, after some discussion with people from the office, that what I call services to the telephone, I thought was just voicemail. But somebody told me, I was told, that it not only includes voicemail, it includes your telephone services, period. So when I was asking about why no voicemail and why it's not working, what they were discussing with me over the telephone was not even the same thing that I'm thinking, that the telephone service is not working. It's not that. You're getting telephone line. The telephone line is not the total service that they list as the 3 parts of their quote triple service. So I don't know what Verizon thinks they're giving to me, but whatever they're thinking is not what I'm getting. And that's not what I've been paying for. I have an automatic pay system that I've paid for the last 50 years. And when the bill comes in, it goes directly to my bank, and the bank pays whatever is listed on that bill. So in December, up until that point, I had a bill of $118. So just to be safe, I put in $120 every month to be paid to Verizon, regardless of what the bill is. But Verizon has different charges for different bills. The letter they just recently sent me says that my services were out for 5 days. It wasn't out for 5 days, it was out for 2 weeks. And not just myself, it was other people whose phones were out. Then they came and gave me a figure of $26 and some cents as prorating the outage on my telephone. Well, believe me, if nobody called me, I had to get an Uber to go to get my daughter to go over to the hospital for the phone call that she was trying to make to me that couldn't be made because the telephone did not accept the answer that was given by the person who was calling me. I think that Verizon has simply tried to make sure that they got what they want when they want it. And I get what I want when they can give it to me. I think for the past 6 months, the bill that they have today that's accumulated into something like $320-some, and I told you again that I was possibly $118 a month that I had paid before December of this past year. That is a big difference. In fact, I've even got a bill that was $600 on it. I think they should not be paid anything for the services that they say they contracted and they omitted. There's no contract. But Verizon says, if you accept whatever you're getting, then you have a contract with me. And as I read contracts, that's not an agreement if I don't understand what they're asking me to agree to for the services that they're going to provide me. They have not provided me the services that I asked. It is not a triple package in terms of the television, the internet, and the telephone. So I think I should not pay them anything until they straighten out the bill and what I'm getting in terms of service. When they get there, the service person gets there. I live in a unit that has 30 people in it. When the telephone man gets there, he takes 2 days to find out where the box is for the total building. He has to call somebody else, his supervisor, to come over. It takes him a day to get there because they can't do anything within an hour. Either it's from 8 to 12 or from 1 to 4.
summary, I've taken a few notes to just try to categorize these issues, and it sounds like, you know, some questions about the cost of the outage, financial interpretation, how the bill is, how we arrive at the bill, how that comes, and then just a general feeling of phone service in particular not being what is advertised, not
Sure.
having your phone service. Is that accurate?
That's accurate.
Okay.
The other part of that is that they send me in the mail a list of services that I subscribe to in terms of what the package is. The package, as far as I know, is only in the paper where they publish the TV ad every day. They send me something with 6 pages with 12 titles on each set of TV stations, and I was supposed to select some. I said, I just want the basic TV channels that you have to give me because the law says so, and there are a few I would like to see also. I'm getting whatever I can get when I understand what they're giving me. But in most cases, you flip to a station and it will tell you, you have not subscribed to this, please press this button in order to get the station. This is very candid. It tells you exactly what the station is and what's on the station. They don't do that at Verizon. They just give you a list of numbers and titles, and they put a subject area on the list of stations. They have sports, and then under that they have ESP, channel 000. They have somebody else, BET, so and so and so and so. I don't have the slightest idea what they're about. And they're not gonna tell me. And every time I call them, and I do have something that recorded their telephone conversation, they always attempt to sell me something else. And I don't want that conversation. I just want TV, telephone, and internet service. I don't need the conversation. I'm 85 years old, and I keep thinking, gee, my father had a rotary phone, and he never called AT&T. Now, the rotary phone is gone, and they've got a new thing in. You can't even pick up a telephone and dial 911 almost. I tried 311, that happened to be the county information office, and I get problems with that because, well, I won't go into what's wrong with the 311. But the service is not there.
Okay.
Let me ask you, do you have one set-top box or 2?
I got one in the 2015 that provides me with maybe 10, 15 stations, including the one that the FCC says you have to provide. And then in December, I bought a new TV. Boy, I was ready for Christmas. I went out, got the new TV in. They told me, well, the set-top box will cost you $99 if we come in to fix it. But if you pick up the set-top box, and it's about a mile from me, I went over, picked up the set-top box, came back, called them up, and they said, well, we have to make an appointment to get a set-top man in here. I said, well, look, if you just give me some instructions, I know an A, B, C, D. If you just give me some instructions, I'll put the set-top box in. The guy came over 2 days later, and the set-top box was in. One set-top, one new set-top box. And they still are billing me for 2 new set-top boxes, and the other one has been here since 2015.
So you're getting billed for 3 boxes?
No, 2 boxes. One was new in December, one I've had since 2015.
But weren't you being charged for that?
I was being charged $11.20 up and through 2017, and for some reason it went to $12, and they tell me that it could have gone up by 80 cents. Well, that's okay. But when I talk to somebody over the telephone, and I have a scan of what he was saying over the telephone plus showing me what he was doing on the TV, it went from $11.20 to removing that box, and now they're charging me for 2 new set-top boxes. Only got one. And that other one I've had since 2015. But they wanna charge me now $12, the same price that they wanted me to pay for the new one that I went out and picked up and put in my TV.
Oh.
I would like the black rotary phone again.
We can do that. Ms. Handy, do you have, any response to what you've heard tonight?
Every time I come here, I feel like we have addressed his inquiries, and he's asked us to address them, not on the phone, but through the West Coast Mayor, and we have addressed them accordingly. He has 2 boxes, he's being charged for 2 boxes.
The 1120 that he saw on his bill was a partial month from when he picked up the new box. So there was 1120 on that December bill because it was part of the month that was being charged. There were so many other items he mentioned. We have addressed all of them in the past, from his complaint to the FCC 4 months ago. Twice we've written the response. So I don't really know what else I can do.
Is it anyone that can sit down face to face with him and go through line item by line item on the bill to try and explain? Because it sounds to me like a lot that he just doesn't understand what he's being charged for. And maybe if you all could come face to face, maybe you can resolve this. Is that agreeable to you, Mr. Gibbons?
I would be the one that would do
No,
that.
no, no, I'm not
But
asking you,
We
ma'am.
probably could go to the Fire's TV store and they could walk me through this bill.
Is that agreeable to you, Mr. Gibbons?
No, because I went to pick up that set-top box, I went to that store and said, I got this box, what am I gonna do with it? They said, well, the instructions are with it. We're just a franchise, we can't answer any other questions. So I walked back to my car and went home.
And I have been here after meetings and talked with him.
Again, I don't know what else I can do for him.
Well, it seems to me, he said he only wants a basic channel, and he doesn't know what he's getting. Like my colleague said, can somebody explain to him what basic channels include?
Are you saying basics channels?
Basic channel.
Yes.
So, I don't know what package he has on his telephone, but again, he's more than welcome to either call us and we have the executive escalation team that has spent time with him and explained his services. But if you'd like to call back again or go into the Fire's TV store, we'd be more than happy to tell him what you
But
want.
he said he's been calling. It seems like the calls are not
Sir,
working.
we have tried to call him, but he wants to communicate with Verizon through the US Postal Service. He doesn't want to talk to us on the phone.
I
So
have a
I'm just
question.
saying, if he doesn't answer the phone for us when we try to call him,
And if an in-person is not something that you're open to, then how are you seeing that this will be resolved if they're offering to be able to call you, and visit with you in person? What other remedies are there in your mind?
Could I just show you a conversation?
No, I'd love if you could answer that question.
Repeat that, I'm sorry.
If via the phone, it doesn't seem to work because you are not answering the phone, and they've offered to meet with you in person, they can't resolve the issue through the mail. So you have to either be on the phone with them, or you have to sit down face to face. And it sounds like my colleague suggested that, and that did not appear to be a good solution for you. So my question is, if the phone is not a solution and the face-to-face is not a solution, what, in your mind, would success look like? How would you recommend that we be able to help you resolve these if those two available solutions are not?
Can I give you an example? When I called and asked what was the adjustment to the outage in December and April, Someone said to me, look at your bill. I said, okay. And he took about 10 minutes to go look at the bill. And he came back and said, you know, I've just reviewed your services, and I think what you really need to do is to take this and this and this and this. And I said, no, I just simply want to know, how did you come to whatever you came to with what I needed to correct? Unable to hear the answer on the cell phone. And I get 15 minutes of conversation.
Sure, and this is why I think going face to face, where you're not going to be subjected to, you know, the sales and marketing, which they're, you know, very well within their right to do. But if you sit down with someone who's specially expecting to go over this bill with you, wouldn't that be a good thing to do, to sit down with someone who can go through the bill with you and just kind of walk you through, as we said?
Yeah.
Okay, would you be open to that?
A reasonable agreement.
Okay, I understand that Verizon has an escalation service that can be provided to people with extraordinary problems. Is it possible that you can sit down with him through the escalation services?
I cannot answer that question at this time, but I've never heard that happen. I've only heard that we call our customers and talk to them on the phone, or they go into our, you know, Fios shop. I've never heard of an escalation team meeting with a customer face to face. I'm not saying it can't happen, but at this moment, I cannot commit to that.
Okay, can you find out?
Of course.
Okay, we'd appreciate that. Because it seems like we come here month after month and nobody's getting any kind of
No,
resolution.
it's always something different. It's not always the same concern or the same question.
Hmm.
So this is, I mean, because this is the first time I've heard the question about the two set-top boxes. That was not the question last month.
Okay, I believe the question last month was about the December billing, which he did bring up.
The question for December last month was regarding why the bill was more than his normal bill. And that was because it was a partial bill month on top of his month of, forward, right? And this question was answered in a letter to him, as well as to the FCC. I brought the letters last month and shared it with the council, and also, that question was answered. He wanted still to get a copy of the December 2018 bill. That was our only outstanding question last month. I made sure the escalation team sent him that bill. So to me, everything was solved. Now today, there's a new issue. And I'm here to try to try to answer his questions. But if he's looking for someone to, sit down face to face, I will have to go back and see if that can be arranged, but I cannot guarantee that.
Well, what the other thing is that most recently I've got 2 letters, and in both letters, it wasn't about the amount of the bill, it's that my refusal to pay it will end up being part of my credit report.
Well, that seems in order. You have to pay your bills.
So I have also asked the council commissioners who is the residential agent for Verizon so that I can go to court, because maybe I need someone to adjudicate the matter.
And that's why I say you all should sit down face to face before you get to that point, because I don't think it'll be necessary if you all can learn to communicate to each other and you lay out all of your issues, whatever they are at that particular time, and have someone to be able to resolve them.
Well, they've already forwarded a letter that I've sent that tells basically what their decision is. And in their letter, they've already decided that I was only out of telephone service for 5 days. Now, how they found that out, I do not know. But my granddaughter and my daughter will tell you that for 2 weeks, they could not read a message on my phone. I don't even know how many days it was. It was not 5 days, but their letter state it was for 5 days, and they prorated the service over those 5 days. Now, are they gonna change that?
Have you asked?
Well, I question it, where they get the 5 days from.
And what was the response?
Well, this is the first time I've seen anybody since that letter. The letter just came, this week, and I sent the commission a copy of the letter.
So I can address the 5 days out. So 5 days out were for his total service. I think there's confusion right here, that we have, of course, the technology tells us when there's someone's phone is out, and if it's out over 24 hours, we automatically give the person credit. Now, I think the question here was his voicemail might have possibly been out. Now, we don't give credit if there was an issue of the voicemail, because it's part of the phone service. And there's no additional fees for the voicemail. So it's only if the total service is out do you receive credit.
So if the service was out, does that delete his voicemail service?
It would be, most likely if it wasn't ringing in the house, voicemail comes from the central office. I guess it would depend on where the issue was with the service being out.
So do you understand what she's saying about the voicemail, that there's no additional, charge for voicemail as part of the telephone package? So if your phone is out and your voicemail is out, when they credit you back the 5 days or the 2 days, whatever it is, that it includes, whatever the cost would be for voicemail, because it's all the same. Voicemail is with the phone service.
When I had the outage, and I have to think about this, in February when the outage was there, it wasn't just the voicemail. It was total service.
Right. So, and she's saying that they recognize that and then they credit you for whatever, how many days that you're out.
Oh, she said 5, well, somebody said 5, in the letter it says 5 days.
Okay, and you wanna dispute the 5 days?
Yes, indeed, because there were several people in my building who had the same problem.
Do you know how long it was?
No, I
Okay.
don't know, but I could,
Yeah.
my children know, because they know when they attempted to call me. And that was strictly on the voicemail when they called me.
Now, did you confer with one of the residents who had the service outing?
Yes, I
To
did.
see what their
I
bill
talked
looked
to
like?
each building where I live, there is a chair of the resident, and she had the same problem. And I started upstairs and she was coming down as I went up to talk to her, and she said her phone was out also.
Longer than 5 days?
And I have not talked to her about the number of days it was out. In fact, she doesn't know anything about this.
I
But
just
she
had
does know that the phone was out.
I just had one final question. So I know you mentioned that you would make sure that he could meet with someone,
No,
or
I didn't
you would
say that.
see, I'm sorry, that you would see if he could meet with someone.
Yes.
So, so that he doesn't have to start back from square one, going to a store and dealing with the salesperson, or calling the customer service number and dealing with the salesperson. Are you gonna explore, like perhaps giving him a direct contact of someone that can actually talk to him over the phone or in person to resolve his questions? I guess I just wanna be clear on what the plan
I think
is.
that was the same question she asked.
Yeah, but what I said was I wasn't clear on if that was your action.
So if you would like to talk to Verizon on the phone, I'm more than happy to have someone call, but he does have to answer the phone to talk to us. And if it's possible, I'm going to also try to see if there's somebody that can do basic things.
Okay.
But also, he had a question on his channels list. Again, the channels are listed online, and in his welcome package, the Verizon channels are listed as well. So just in case. But he found the list of the surcharges and the explanations. The channels are listed up in there as well.
Okay, so you would look to there for your channels. We have another, person for public comment, so we're going to ask that we, wrap this up with you. We have an action item from, Ms. Handy about seeing, what level of response that she's able to get either via phone or, in person. Okay, we have another public comment.
Yeah, we have Mrs. John
Yes.
Matistad.
Middlestead. Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
My name is John Middlestead. I'm the pastor of Divine Peace Lutheran Church and School in Upper Marlboro. I've served as pastor there for 49 years. We sponsor and support a Christian elementary school, grades kindergarten through grade 8 for 38 years. It's a small school, about 50 students, which means we serve Prince George's County community by providing sound, good, excellent Christian elementary education for 50 students. We also serve the county in making the county a much more desirable place to live in, because one of the concerns about people moving to the county or buying a home in the county is that the school system. And so our school has enabled people to feel comfortable in buying a home or moving to the area or remaining in the area. In 2002, our school sought internet service. And I guess we contacted Jones Communication or Comcast, and we received internet service as a courtesy account. The account number we have for our internet service, we also have phone service, but which is a business line. But our internet service is a residential number. We're told that now. Back in 2002, there was no distinction between business and commercial Comcast accounts. So we've had this account, this courtesy account, for 17 years. During that time, we received no statements, no bills. When we had problems, we'd call and we'd give the account number, and we'd be serviced if there was an outage, for example. In May of this year, we received a phone call and a letter from a representative of Comcast stating that this is all a mistake. We should have been billed all this time. And that the reason is because we are a private school, Christian school, not a public school. We're not a charter school. We receive no support from the government. The congregation and the family support it. So they said, if you can provide a contract, then we'll honor it. I said, well, this is not a contract that was made with Comcast in Divine Peace School. It's a contract made with Prince George's County. And we looked at the original franchise agreement going back to the last century, part of the agreement that Jones Communication, when this franchise agreement was established with Prince George's County, is that they would designate or allow certain community service, libraries, schools, and so forth, to receive internet service without charge, and that this was to continue unimpeded and not be removed, as long as this agency was in existence. So I said, we have no contract because it's with the county. So I responded to this request because they said we'll have to either cut it off or we'll cut your service off. So I have copies of the letter I sent to the representative of Comcast. I'd be happy to give you each a copy. Briefly outline what I said, and my response is this, that our school receipt of courtesy service was not at all at a request or petition, but by the direction of Prince George's County. As it stated in section G of service to certain facility, on page 58 of the original contract, a courtesy connection could only come upon the request of the county. It's further stated in this paragraph that the franchisee shall provide this service to a facility or agency as shall be designated by the county from time to time. As proof of that, we've had this service for 17 years, I say, and then finally it says, the last sentence of that same paragraph says, the franchisee, that's Comcast, shall continue to provide such activated connections without charge to all such locations to which such connections were provided as of December 1st, 1998. And we brought this to your attention. We sent you a copy of the original contract with Jones Communication, and I have a copy of the letter. We have received no response from Comcast to this letter. What we did receive in June, however, was a bill it was addressed not to the church, it was addressed, I have a copy of that too for you. It says, hello divine, not peace, there's no peace there. Lutheran is misspelled, church is misspelled, C-H-R-C-H. And it says, thank you for choosing Xfinity from Comcast. We did not choose. And then there's a bill for $177.50. In fact, now it's double that because of July. And we said, we have no, and looking at the bill, it says, it's clear that there's television service, sports connection and so forth. Our church and school has no cable box, no televisions. All we have is we use it for the students, for the school. We would like to upgrade that service, and we're happy to pay for that. We're happy to pay for an upgraded service. But we feel either the basic service should, remain ours, and we can upgrade that to a faster service, or at least that this bill should be straightened out. I hope that makes sense. I'll be happy to provide you copies of these letters if you'd like. Okay.
You say to date you have not received any response from Comcast?
Other than the bill on the second page that says, now Zoom. And interesting, it's the same account number given back in 2002. And when I call Comcast Business for our phone service, they say, well, we don't know that we don't have an account because this is a residential account number. So we are a church and school, and yet they continue, now they've given us a new contract with a residential number, not our name, not a correct name anyway, no agreement, we have no television box or anything, not two boxes, not one box, 0 box, and we don't desire it either. But if we could just straighten this out, that'd be great. So thank you so much.
So, do we have anyone from Comcast here tonight? Could you tell us your name?
My name is Addie Gogomo. I am the government care representative.
Okay. Do you have any knowledge of this?
I do have some knowledge of it. I don't have access to the specific account, but I was made aware of the concern that was raised in the conversion from the courtesy service to the paid account. As he stated in the franchise agreement, we are not required to provide courtesy service, video or internet to private institutions, private schools. It is strictly limited to public entities. We work with staff and the office to identify those locations that should be receiving courtesy accounts. I can't speak to when his courtesy service was set up at the school because I was not present there. I don't know who made that decision, but from an operations perspective, we do not provide courtesy service to private institutions. So probably through an audit, it came out that this private institution was receiving courtesy service, and the letter was sent notifying them that this would no longer be the case going forward.
Thank you for that.
We'll just remind you again that the original contract, franchise agreement does say whatever, in any facility that the county may choose to designate. It's very general terms of what the kind of institutions that should be receiving this. While we are not a public school, we do support the public. We are a service to the county, obviously.
Obviously, but that sounds like that's in direct contradiction to Comcast's policy of providing the courtesy service. So it appears to be a tension between what was done in '98 and what their policy is, and what they're rightfully allowed to do. So what I would like to do is to be able to try to figure out this bill. It's clear that they're getting charged for things that they don't have, and then we'll need to just be able to come to terms with whatever you may have to start paying.
I see.
And that just may be the way that it is, but we certainly want to help you get to pay only what you owe, and be able to have you in the system the proper way.
If I could also just make a statement, I wasn't aware that Comcast did this audit, but as the cable television administrator, I would
Can you re-provide that, sir?
So I think you referenced the cable television, franchise agreement, which is under the authority of the
Okay.
county.
Okay. I
Which is why
misunderstood that.
I would have, liked to, be made aware of this, so, I will follow up.
Okay.
Duly noted, thank you for that. Okay, so sir, we've got a couple of ways that we're going to follow up with this. We have a few action items to carry over to try to help, navigate through here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, we did not approve the minutes of the first approval.
Okay, yeah, I had asked if there were any changes to the minutes.
Oh, no, for the
And-
approval of the
Okay,
minutes.
right, but then, we went right into the action items after that,
Oh,
so,
the
yeah,
approval of the
okay,
first.
yeah.
Sorry about that.
No, if there are no, corrections to the minutes, they'll stand approved.
That
Right, or
will
we
be
need to vote?
approved with the
Yes.
condition.
Okay.
I'm sorry, did you ask anything?
No, I'm just looking for your guidance on how to resolve the
Oh,
minutes.
okay, you just, asked the commissioners if they, approve with the minutes of the
Okay.
last, minute. I don't know if you're
Right.
able to read them,
Yes.
Yeah,
say your approval.
Anybody have
I
any
approve.
changes?
Right.
Okay.
Okay, sure.
And you
All
call a
those
motion.
in approve?
Yeah, so it's on a motion to approve that.
Okay. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes as
Yes.
presented?
Yes.
Okay. All in favor?
Yeah.
Aye. Okay. None opposed? Minutes are approved. Okay, we'll jump back down to, reports from Comcast.
I do not have a report.
Okay, thank you. Verizon?
I don't have a report, but just one more comment regarding the Cinnamon Ridge issue that you feel is open. Verizon has this posed because it is individual customers, and it's up to the customer to call Verizon to have the work done, and they would be, paying for that work. So if the customer never calls, this could be an open-ended issue forever. So it's, in Verizon's viewpoint, the issue is closed.
Okay. Duly noted.
Okay,
Did
but-
the other customers pay for it, or?
For Verizon, they will, yes.
Okay, in following up with Verizon, the Cinnamon Ridge,
Yes.
on a monthly basis to inquire,
Yes.
about the status. They stated that Verizon has been working with each individual owner to, allow them access, to get in and fix, the issue.
Yes.
But sometimes it has been, a scheduling issue,
Everything
so.
you said, but I just wanted to let you know that Verizon feels that that issue is a closed issue. They're still working with the customers, but it is not an open issue that we have with purchasers.
We know that Verizon is working directly, with the individual homeowners, but we as the cable commissioners, because they had to reach out to us, so we are tracking, the progress of the, issue. So that's why, we report it on a
Right.
monthly basis.
Okay.
Just to give update, but Verizon is working with those, individual owners to address that issue, but we track it,
Okay.
just for our own purpose.
But your comment is noted, thank you. All right, commissioners, any commissioner comments? No? No? Okay, so our next commission meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, August 28th, 2019. If there is no other business before the commission, I will, is there a motion to adjourn?
I move that we adjourn for this evening.
A second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We stand adjourned. Thank you for coming.